Hello, everyone. Welcome to Recycle Right. My name is Eric Hartman. I'm one of the programming librarians here with Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. Today we have Walker and Maitri joining us today. They're working with Mecklenburg County on their recycle program, and I'm going to pass it off to them. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Maitri Meyer, and I am one of the residential recycling educators for Mecklenburg County, along with my colleague Walker Spruill. And she and I will be switching back and forth during this presentation so you don't have to listen to one voice the entire time. So the goal of this presentation, it'll be about 40 minutes, and then afterwards we will have time for questions. But the goal is really for you to know when you have something that you'd like to dispose of, is it best to put it in the garbage can or the recycling can? And we have done this presentation over 100 times. So we have incorporated about 90% of the most frequently asked questions into the content of the presentation and an interactive game that we're going to do at the end. So if you could hold your questions to the end and then type them into the comments, we'll finish up that last 10%. Now, there's a couple things that I want you to know. First of all, we are here to empower and educate you. We are not here to shame you. We are not here to get you to drastically change your habits. Anything that we teach you that you can incorporate into your new daily habits will improve the situation with Mecklenburg County. So we really appreciate you listening, your cooperation, and your efforts to learn how to recycle right. Another note is that this presentation is for residential curbside recycling only. So these are not the rules for businesses or schools or even multifamily dwellings such as apartments and condominiums and senior centers, because those are all businesses and they hire private haulers, private waste management type companies to come pick up their garbage and the recycling, and they might take it to the county facility for sorting and processing, and they might take it somewhere else. So their guidelines can be a little bit different. These are also the guidelines for Mecklenburg County. Cabarrus County sends all of their recyclable materials to Mecklenburg County. So if you're in Mecklenburg or Cabarrus, it's exactly the same. But if you're in one of the other counties, it might be 80–90% the same. You might want to check on your local town or city website to find out what the guidelines are where you are. Okay. Walker?
So we actually have a video to show you before this. It's all good. This is, do you want to go ahead and introduce the video, Maitri?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. We're doing something a little bit different than we typically do. And so, can you see the county website now?
You're good to go.
Okay, so sorry about that, folks. We rearranged our slides a little bit. So this is the county solid waste website. If you type in wipeoutwaste.com, it comes to this website. This is the homepage. On this homepage, if you scroll down a little bit, there's an area called Quick Links. And under that Quick Links, here under More Information in yellow, it says Videos and Cool Recycling Tools. We would love it if you took a moment to go there and look at some of the items. There are brochures, there are videos, but the video that we would like to show you today, it's about 3.5–4 minutes, is called Recycle Right, From the Curb to the MRF.
It's recycling day. Have you ever wondered where your recycling actually goes? First, recycling carts are wheeled to the curb for pickup. The recycling truck then comes through neighborhoods collecting the recyclables with large hydraulic arms that pick up the cart and then empty the recyclables into the truck. Once the trucks are full, they head to the Metrolina Recycling Center. To keep the material clean, you should only put paper, cardboard, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and jugs into your recycling cart at home, school, and work, and in the bins at the full and self-service recycling centers. And never place plastic bags in the recycling bin because they can potentially damage the machinery. Plastic bags can be recycled at many retailers. The trucks arriving at the facility are first weighed at the scale house. Trucks come from the Mecklenburg County area, including neighborhoods in Charlotte, Huntersville, Mint Hill, Matthews, Cornelius, Davidson, and Pineville, as well as the full and self-service recycling centers in Mecklenburg County. The recyclable materials collected by the trucks are emptied on the tipping floor. Between 400 and 500 tons of paper, cardboard, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and jugs arrive daily and must be sorted by the network of equipment and people at the facility. The material is pushed from the tipping floor into a hopper, which starts to uncompact the mixed material with a rotating drum. After going through the rotating drum, the material moves on to the first of many conveyor belts that quickly move the material. The material first goes through the pre-sort cabin, where workers remove as much unacceptable material as possible from the fast-moving conveyor belt. It's very important to keep the unacceptable materials out of the recycling stream because these items can create safety hazards, seriously damage machinery, and stop facility operations. Then the material moves on through a system of magnets which separate the steel cans. Plastic bottles and containers are sorted by optical sorters that use air jets to direct the plastics to the correct bunker. The system is designed to handle the recycle right household recyclables: paper, cardboard, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and jugs. The recycling facility processes over 30 tons of material per hour. After the material is sorted, it's loaded into bunkers. Then the material types are sent through balers to compact the material into bales to prepare them for sale and shipping. The bales can weigh 1,000 to 1,500 pounds depending on the material. Baling the material allows for efficient storage and shipping. Anything other than the recycle right household recyclables, like paper, cardboard, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and jugs, are actually not handled properly in the system and goes out as residue into a trash compactor. This wishful recycling can cause a backup and even damage the system. The Metrolina Recycling Center also offers group tours that will allow you to see this amazing process for yourself and learn more about recycling so you can recycle right. Recycling right is very important for employee safety, protecting the machinery, reducing disposal and operating costs, facility efficiency, and creating clean bales of marketable materials to be recycled into new items. So remember, only place paper, cardboard, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and jugs in your recycling cart at home, school, work, and at the full and self-service recycling centers. And always recycle right.
All right, so I know that y'all watching that video probably saw something different than what she said. So we are going to touch on that in the Q&A at the end. So hang on to what you think was different between what she said and what you saw, because we're here today to talk about recycling right. And what does that even mean? So that means that only putting in your recycling bin what we can actually turn around and sell at market. That means what people actually want out there. And right now we have too much contamination or non-recyclables in our recycling bins. Right now, it's true that about 1 in 5 items are actually trash. So they're taking the long way to get to a landfill. So we're here today to talk about, it's not about recycling everything. Not everything is recyclable here in Mecklenburg County. It's about recycling right so that we can boost the system that we have right now and make recycling a more viable, valuable option in Mecklenburg County and beyond. So everybody knows the 3 R's, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle. But the truth is that that's just not enough anymore. So we've actually developed the 7 R's of waste reduction, and it takes it to that next level where we rethink the items we're bringing in. We refuse items that we don't need. We reduce how much we're consuming. We rot or compost the organic matters that we can. We reuse instead of single use. We repurpose items for other causes. And then finally, we recycle right, because after that, the next step is the landfill.
And many of us, as she said, we want to recycle. We don't want to put things into the landfill. The problem is that causes a problem for the sorting facilities, because as Walker said, 1 in 5 items actually shouldn't be in there. So I know that I personally am a recovering wishful recycler. I was one of those people before I started working for Mecklenburg County and really understood what can and can't be recycled and why. I was one of those people that used to look at something and go, well, that's metal. If this coffee mug is leaking, maybe I can put that in the recycling bin. But I can't. I was wishfully recycling. So the problem with wishful recycling, there are several problems. But one, the items can damage the machinery. The machinery can only handle certain materials and certain sizes and shapes. 2, some items can actually cause fires, flammables, things that are explosive. Some items can injure the workers, something sharp coming through, because they are grabbing things quickly. If there's diabetic needles in there, that is very dangerous for the workers. And then they end up being put into a dumpster, put in another truck, and driven to the landfill anyway. So as Walker said, it takes a longer route to get there. So please try not to be a wishful recycler. And then those of you that really are kind of like, okay, show me the money, tell me the numbers, I'm a concrete financial type person. This is the actual cost to Mecklenburg County for pulling out garbage that shouldn't be in the curbside recycling bins. In the video, the woman said that the facility receives about 400 tons of recyclable materials per day. And I know that doesn't make sense. So 55 to 60 truckloads is what 400 tons is. So let's say we get that contamination or rejection or garbage rate from 20%, 1 out of 5, down to only 15%. If we were able to reduce that only 5%, we would only be sending 60 tons of trash per day to the landfill. So that's somewhere between 10 and 12 truckloads. To pay for that, the county pays the operator of the recycling center per ton, $86 per ton to sort things out. And then we have to pay to send it to the landfill. So it's over $7,000 per day pulling garbage out. We work 5 days a week, unless it's super busy. Sometimes we work 6 or 7. Usually we work 1 shift. Sometimes we have to work 2. 52 weeks a year. There's no time that the recycling center shuts down for holidays because people keep throwing things away. So if you add all this up, wishful recycling, contamination, throwing away trash into your recycling bin that shouldn't be there, costs the county almost $1.9 million per year. Trust me, the county has some ideas on what to do with that extra $1.9 million per year if they were able to reduce the contamination rate. We could upgrade the machinery. There's a lot of new advanced technology like artificial intelligence, robotics, things like that. And then maybe we'd be able to accept more things if we were able to upgrade equipment. So that's why we really need your help to try not to be a wishful recycler and really learn these guidelines.
So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of exactly what we do and do not accept. But before we get into those details, we have one big ask, and that is, please do not put plastic bags into your recycling bins. Don't bag your recyclables and don't put loose bags in there thinking that they will be recycled. Those plastic bags can be taken to your retailers that accept plastic film, the stretchy plastic film, but we do not accept them in curbside carts because it is actually a huge problem in our system, and not just in Mecklenburg County, but in recycling across the nation. Plastic bags, when loads get dropped off, and there are plastic bags like you see, this just got dropped out of a truck. If you look in there, there are a bunch of plastic bags. And when those get pushed up into the machinery, it gets wrapped around the machines so that nothing works the way that it's supposed to. If you look at this right here, this is called a star screen, and it is meant to pull paper, loose paper, down away from other materials in between these metal bars. But as you can see, nothing is going between these metal bars. And so that paper gets moved along the line instead of getting recycled properly. So somebody has to come in, they have to shut down the whole system and clean up those plastic bags so that the machines work right. And there are actually a few things that we really need you to make sure not to put in there. So plastic bags and anything that tangles. That means hoses, that means cords, that means Christmas lights, things like that. Those cannot be recycled in your curbside cart. Maitri mentioned earlier, anything sharp. So those metal scissors are not recyclable in your curbside cart. If those get in there, those are dangerous. Even hangers are dangerous, car parts, things like that. Anything sharp, those diabetic needles, those need to be disposed of properly. Also, any rechargeable batteries. So rechargeable batteries have different chemicals inside them that when they get crushed in that system, whether it's your trash can or a recycling bin, if that gets crushed and exposed to oxygen, it starts fires. So rechargeable batteries actually need to be taken to your full service drop-off centers here in Mecklenburg County, or there are also retailers that will accept back old rechargeable batteries for proper handling. And then finally, anything flammable. So that means any kind of gas-filled tank. Those need to be handled properly and not in your curbside cart. Yes, it's made of metal. No, it cannot go in your curbside bin. You can see at the bottom here, many of these items are actually going to be accepted at your full service drop-off centers and not in your bins, because it is dangerous when it makes it into that system.
Excellent. So now we're going to talk about the items that you can recycle. We talked about some of the big no-nos that cause big headaches for us, and these are the only items. If they are not listed on this piece of paper, and we can give you a link where you can download an image like this and go ahead and print it and put it right next to your recyclables. Maybe Walker can put that in the chat, the mini guide. So they come in a few different categories. The first category is paper. And paper products include newspapers, junk mail, brown paper bags, the egg cartons that are made out of cardboard, magazines. Doesn't matter if it's glossy or not glossy. If you can rip it and there are little fibers in it, that counts as a paper product. The second product, a close cousin, is cardboard and things like food boxes, like cereal boxes, pasta boxes, corrugated cardboard, and what we call box board. So those are all the paper fiber type things. So paper, cardboard. The next item is cartons and juice boxes. So that's a little bit different kind of paper. They have a coating on them, but we have a separate machine that can pull those out. And yes, milk cartons, orange juice cartons, juice boxes, soup broth cartons, almond milk, soy milk, things like that, they can all be recycled in your curbside cart also. The next category is metal. So it's very important to remember this little tip. If it's metal, it needs to be in the form of a can. So we can take tin or steel cans that, like green beans or baked beans or dog food or cat food comes in. We can take aluminum cans like soda or beer or other things like that. And we can take aerosol cans as long as they are 100% empty. So there is no flammable compressed air still in there. So shake it, touch the top multiple times. So if it is metal and it's in the form of a can, we can take that. But like I said, metal in the form of something like this, the machines will not recognize it. It's got to be a food can or an aerosol can. The next category is glass, bottles, and jars. Now we're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth later, but just know that we can take any color of glass in your curbside cart. It can be clear, green, brown, amber, even that cobalt blue if you get some fancy wine, dark wine colors, you know, the blues and the reds, those are all fine. The next, as long as it's in the form of a bottle or a jar, we do not want mirrors. We do not want picture glass, windows, dishes and plates and cups and glasses. It has to be something that was probably food grade, a beverage, or a food came in. And the final category, and the one that causes the most confusion for residents, is plastic. The reason it causes confusion is that we were taught for many years to turn the plastic item upside down and look for a number on the bottom. It was a 1, a 2, a 5, a 7, a whole bunch of numbers like that. They were in those chasing arrows. Unfortunately, those numbers are no longer reliable. They're called resin identification codes, RIC codes. And it's supposed to be the chemical compound of the type of plastic that that item is made out of. The problem is that manufacturers, packaging designers can put the number on the bottom. That plastic is 51% or more of that specific chemical compound. So what if it's 49% of something else, or a mix of 3 or 4 or 5 different things? It could be a mixed plastic and not a pure plastic. So obviously everyone in their home doesn't have an optic sorter that can put a laser through it and determine the chemical compound of these different types of plastic. So the way the county came up with to educate the community in an easy to remember way is, if it is a bottle or a jug with a pourable neck or spout, you can put it in your curbside recycling cart. Otherwise, no other plastic. So if you have, like, this is my air conditioning clicker. If you have a clicker like this, it's made of plastic. It does not have a pourable neck or spout. So it needs to be smaller at the top than on the base. It has to have like a neck and a shoulders. So that is your soda, your water, your milk, your laundry jugs, your vinegar containers, things like that. Again, it's probably a household food or toiletry type product. So these are not durable goods. So we're going to go through several examples later. So paper, cardboard, metal in the form of a can, glass, cartons and juice boxes, and plastic containers. And all of these items, this is very important, they need to be clean, dry, and empty. We can take the soda bottle, but we don't want the soda inside. We can take the steel can with the cat food in it, but we don't want the cat food inside of it. Okay?
So y'all saw in the video the people working in the recycling sorting system. Well, here are our locations of our full service drop-off centers. And I bring up the people working in the system because that's a big part of why things need to be clean, dry, and empty, is because there are people working within the system. And if you think it is valuable, then treat it as the value that it is. Treat it with the intention that you have. And Maitri mentioned glass. So at these 4 full service drop-off centers where we accept all of the single stream recyclables that Maitri just mentioned, as well as hazardous household waste like paint and those rechargeable batteries from your electronics and your weed whacker. We also have these giant yellow dumpsters that are for clean glass only. And what happens is all of the glass that gets put in there gets taken directly to the glass recyclers. So it is going to be turned into other glass containers because it is going to be only glass. When it gets sent through the single stream system, it gets crushed up. And unfortunately, those contaminants that end up in like a lot of trash or shredded paper or something like that all ends up in the glass. But when you bring it here to our full service drop-off centers at these 4 different locations, around Mecklenburg County. This giant yellow dumpster is for that clean glass only. That means no lids. That means no corks, no bottle caps on there. Labels are fine. Just make sure that it is clean so that it can get turned into other glass materials. And all of this information is at the county's website at wipeoutwaste.com. And I do want to mention that for those full service drop-off centers, residents are able to access them at no extra cost. Out-of-town residents or out-of-towners can also get a sticker to go in with a once-a-year fee, but then you can visit as often as you need.
Walker, can you do the FAQs for me?
Yeah, sorry. So then we have our frequently asked questions. I know that we have given you a lot of information, but first question that we always get is, what about aluminum foil pans and aluminum foil? And those are not accepted in our curbside recycling bin. So if you have those, go ahead and save yourself the water and the energy of trying to scrub those out, because the only metals that we want in our curbside recycling is metal in the shape of a can. Then next question we always get is, what about the little plastic windows in my junk mail and in things like pasta boxes? And those are totally fine. You can leave those in because the people who, or the companies that recycle that paper can take those plastics off easily. And so those plastic windows are totally fine. If you want to tear them out, that's fine. But you definitely don't have to. And then finally, we always get asked about pizza boxes. Yes, pizza boxes are recyclable. That's a great cardboard material. But what about the grease inside the box? So we like to say, make sure you eat all of the pizza. Nobody wants that pizza left over from you. So go ahead and eat that pizza or dispose of it in the trash. And if there's a tiny bit of grease on the bottom of that box, then go ahead and put that into your recycling bin. But if there's a lot of grease or cheese stuck on there, then go ahead and tear off the top of that pizza box and recycle the part that does not have grease on it and throw the rest in your garbage can in your kitchen.
Excellent. So now we are going to do an interactive game, and this is where a lot of the learning happens, because we're going to go through specific examples. Remember, I said 90% of your questions are covered in this presentation and only 10% we have to do in the comments later. This is where almost all those 90% of your questions are going to show up. So we're going to play a game just like Sesame Street. I'm going to show you some pictures and list off some different common household waste items that you're trying to decide, do I put this in the recycling bin or into the garbage can? And only one of them is going to go into the recycling can. The rest are going to go into the garbage. So the first category is packing materials. Which one should go into the recycling cart? Is it styrofoam peanuts, an Amazon Prime bubble wrap envelope that's plasticky? Is it a sealed air pillow? Is it a corrugated cardboard box, or is it shredded paper? So I'm hoping everyone at home is shouting out the answer is corrugated cardboard. Depending on what your local municipality or town, city or town tells you to do, you might have to flatten that. You might have to make it small. You definitely want it loose in your cart so that when the truck empties it, it can fall out loosely. So what do we do with those other items? You can throw them in the trash. You can reuse them. So the styrofoam peanuts, try to avoid them. Try to reuse them. See if a local shipping store like a UPS or a FedEx, they're all independently owned. So you need to go talk to the manager and see if they will reuse them. The sealed air pillows, bubble wrap, stretchy plastics like bread bags, dry cleaning bags, anything that has a flexible, stretchy plastic, and even that Amazon Prime bubble envelope can go to your local retailer to be recycled with the recycled bags and flexible packaging. So places like your grocery store, your home improvement store, oftentimes they have bins outside that say plastic bags. Anything that is a stretchable plastic can go in there. And I don't know if you can see on that Amazon Prime envelope, there's a red arrow and it says store drop off with your plastic bags. That's something that I learned. Now, shredded paper. Maitri said junk mail paper is recyclable. Why can't I put that in my curbside bin? And Walker alluded to it. When glass goes into your curbside bin and goes to our processing facility, it gets shattered. And anything smaller than about a business size envelope or a postcard falls through some screens and ends up in the shattered glass pile. So that is where the shredded paper ends up. That's where the extra cat food shows up if you didn't empty something all the way. That's where a loose bottle cap ends up. That's where the diabetic needles end up. And that's why it's hard for us to sell glass that goes through our single stream processing at our sorting facility, because it ends up being dirty glass. And that's why we ask, if possible, if you're going near the full service drop-off centers anyway, separate your glass, take the corks, take the caps off, and bring us the glass into the yellow dumpster. We can send it straight to the glass processors that way. Okay, the next one. Which metal object should go into the recycling cart? Hopefully you all remember the little rule I gave you. So the first one is aerosol cans. The next one is an empty watering can, a gasoline can, some screws or nails, some aluminum gutters, or some miscellaneous car parts. Hopefully you all remember, if it's in the shape of a can, we can take it, including aerosol cans, as long as they're 100% empty, no compressed air in there. If there's a plastic top you can take off, that's great. You don't need to try to disassemble the metal. They have a way to do that when it goes to the metal recycler. Now, we talked before that the gasoline can is a flammable, and that could start a fire in the recycling cart and the garbage cart. Do not put that in any of those carts that are going to bounce around a truck and show up at one of our facilities. They need to go to a full service drop-off center, and Walker made the list of those. We can share the list of those in the comments to help you find one. And they need to go to the household hazardous waste table so that they can be disposed of properly. Now, if you have any other metal like that, we do have a specific dumpster at each one of the full service drop-off centers for scrap metal. So that watering can, those miscellaneous screws, those aluminum gutters, just make sure there's no plastic in them, they can all go into the scrap metal. In fact, if you have any car parts that don't have rubber or plastic or paper, anything like that attached to them, if it's a 100% metal car part or a metal bar, something like that, you can put it into the scrap metal dumpster at the full service recycling center. Okay, which plastic object should go into the recycling cart? Do you remember our little rule when it came to plastic? Does anyone listening to this presentation think that plastic bags should go into your curbside residential recycling cart? I hope not. If anybody believes that, please listen to this presentation again. Please contact the county. We might have to do a private tutoring session. No plastic bags in your recycling cart ever. That is our #1 problem that costs the county the most money in broken machinery. Okay, the next item, would it be a plastic kiddie pool? How about some single-use utensils or cups? What about a salad dressing bottle or a storage tote or a hose? Which one of those plastic items should go into the recycling cart? Hopefully you remember the rule that it is a bottle or a jug with a pourable neck or spout where the top is smaller than the bottom. It has a neck and a shoulder. So this is a bottle of salad dressing, but what do we need to do with that bottle of salad dressing first? We need to eat all the salad dressing, and we need to make sure it's clean, dry, and empty. So fill it up with hot water, shake it up, and then dump it. And you might have to do it twice if it's oily. Now, everybody, this is a frequently asked question. What do we do with caps for water bottles, soda bottles, dressing bottles, things like that? Caps, you have 2 options. First option, you can throw them in the garbage, send them to the landfill. That's fine. Second option, if the cap is made out of the same material, like it's plastic and plastic, versus plastic and glass or plastic and metal, something like that, or plastic and cardboard. If it's the same material, go ahead. Once it's clean, dry, and empty, screw it back on and it can get recycled with the plastic bottle. There's one thing we do not want. We do not want loose caps in your recycling carts, because then where do they end up? They end up in the shattered glass pile. They fall through those screens, contaminate the glass, and make it difficult for us to sell it by the ton to processors. Okay, last one. This one's the hardest one, everybody. Which food container should go into your recycling cart? All the rest have to go in the garbage, or you have to reuse them or try not to buy them in the first place. First item, these zip pouches. It used to just be trail mix came in those, but nowadays, I don't know if you're noticing, everything is coming in zip pouches. The second one, yogurt cups. What about a cereal box? What about a nut container? It's got metal on the bottom, cardboard in the middle with a foil lining, another band of metal, and a plastic lid. Could it be a clamshell that lettuce comes in, fruit comes in, lots of things come in these plastic boxes now? Maybe a deli takeout container? Or how about a styrofoam takeout container from a local restaurant? Which one of these food containers goes in your recycling cart? Hopefully you all said cereal box. That's in the box board, cardboard category. What do we need to do first with that cereal box before we drop it into the recycling cart? First of all, eat all the cereal. We don't want Lucky Charms in there, because then they're going to fall into the glass and contaminate the glass. The second thing, in that box, they have one of those evil plastic bags. Unfortunately, they're usually not the stretchy kind. They're more of a hard plastic, so that plastic bag needs to go into the garbage. We only want the cardboard box. Walker.
I forgot to unmute myself. All right, so we know that we have given you a whole bunch of information today, and so that's why we kind of want to take a step back, take a deep breath with you, and think about, from all of the things that you heard, what is one thing that you learned that you are willing to commit to changing today? Because we really want to focus on where we can start right now, and then grow it from there. So put in the chat, what is the one thing that you're willing to commit to changing about your recycling habits today? We really appreciate y'all being here with us today. This is a free presentation that is put on by Mecklenburg County Solid Waste. Their website is wipeoutwaste.com, but we also have this quick link to our virtual education classes. So people can go to this link and sign up for any upcoming Recycle Right presentations. And we ask that you please share this widely. Like this video, share these links around, because we have a lot of residents that we need to reach, and it's only through the connections that we have with our neighbors and our friends and our passion for recycling that we're going to be able to empower everybody to recycle right in Mecklenburg County. We also have our level 2 presentation, which is the 7 R's of waste reduction. So if you're interested, now that you've watched this video, now that you've taken this webinar, this level 1, if you would like to take the 7 R's of waste reduction, email the county solidwaste@mecknc.gov and let them know that you would like to be included in the next 7 R's webinar. And then finally, we have a Kids Can Recycle Right in Meck County presentation. So kids of all ages can recycle right now. And so here is that link to that presentation. And on the county website at wipeoutwaste.com, we also have this great coloring page, which has a little cheat sheet down at the bottom. So go ahead and print that out, color it up, and put that over your trash can so that when you are throwing things away, you can say, oh, look, there's that bottle with a neck let me clean it out and put it in my recycling bin.
Awesome. And we also just recently translated this Recycle Right presentation into Spanish so that our Latinx community in Mecklenburg County can also receive this information. So if you know anyone that would prefer to listen to this information in Spanish instead of English, please tell them about Reciclemos Bien webinar. Our little tagline is when in doubt, throw it out in English. In Spanish, it's si hay duda, a la basura. And again, we have a bit.ly link. We can share all of these links with you in the comments, and we hope you share them with others. We also have some free paper shredding because we said shredded paper cannot go into your residential recycling cart. People ask what to do with it. In the 7 R's, we talk a great thing you can do with it is to compost it. But for those of you that don't have compost bins or don't want to do that, on the 3rd Saturday of the month for several months, I'm not sure if they'll continue after June or not, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. till noon or until the trucks are full, you can bring up to 3 bankers boxes full of confidential papers to be shredded on site. We've contracted with those companies that have the big trucks and they shred them right there on site. The location is Compost Central at 140 Valley Dale Road. So this is coming up in May in a couple weeks. Just look for the 3rd Saturday in May. So that is the end of our formal presentation. We're going to move on to Q&A in a minute, but I wanted to thank you so much for attending and provide our contact information. You can contact Mecklenburg County Solid Waste via email is probably the best, solidwaste@mecknc.gov. They have a Facebook page where announcements like the shredding events, announcements like the upcoming presentations, either in English or Spanish or the 7 R's, we put those on that Facebook page so that you can find the registration information easy. Please like, please follow, please share the posts that are on that Facebook page. On the bottom of every page, we've had their general website, wipeoutwaste.com. At the beginning, I showed you what the homepage looks like, and you can go down to cool resources, videos, and recycling tools, and there is a lot of information there. You can watch more videos, you can download and print brochures, all kinds of stuff. But as an overall summary of this entire presentation, we want you to remember, when in doubt, please throw it out or give us a shout. So now we're going to move on to Q&A.
All right, so we already do have some questions in the comments. I really appreciate that. First one we're going to touch on is alkaline batteries. So what do I do with alkaline batteries? Because I know we mentioned the rechargeable batteries, which need to be taken to your full service drop-off centers to the hazardous household waste and given to them there. But when it comes to alkaline batteries, they go in the trash. So alkaline batteries are not being recycled anywhere. There is one company in the whole country that will accept them for recycling, but it is very expensive. I don't even have the link because nobody's ever taken me up on it. But this is a big chance to kind of shift that idea from single-use alkaline batteries to those rechargeable batteries. So if you use batteries often, then getting a couple of sets of the rechargeable AA's, AAA's, those things can really last you years and years. Where then when you're finished using them, they can be taken to the full service drop-off centers and recycled and handled properly. So alkaline batteries go in the trash. All rechargeable batteries go to be properly handled at the full service drop-off centers. I know I keep saying full service drop-off center a lot. But I also want to touch on, I mentioned right after the video that we saw at the beginning, what was it that jumped out at you that was different about the visual than what she said. And that is, it's said on with the words that glass bottles are accepted, but she did not say glass. And part of that is because glass is actually very difficult to recycle in the single stream system. It's a great material. It can be recycled numerous times, but because of the way that it's handled in the single stream system, it is not a very high value product. That is why we ask you to bring those clean jars without lids, without corks, to the full service drop-off centers and put them in those big yellow dumpsters, because then they actually are getting recycled back into other glass containers. We also got a question about the metal lids that are on your glass jars. So if you're taking it to the yellow dumpster, it needs to have no lids. But if it is in your home bin and you have a metal lid, say you got pickles and there's a metal lid on that jar. Well, once you've eaten those pickles and then wash that jar and dry it out, then you can actually put that lid back on the jar securely and put those together into your curbside bin. We do not want those little metal lids loose, because as you saw in that video, it is big machines pushing those materials up onto the machinery, the big machinery system. And so we need the materials moving freely through that system, but you can put those metal lids back on jars. And I just realized I actually misunderstood the question, because it was, should we recycle the metal lids on the food can? Aha. So the metal cans that we accept where you pull off the lid, those lids can be recycled. First option is if you're using a can opener, leave the hinge so that that stays on there, wash that can out, and then put those lids, whether loose or hinged, put them right back in the can and squeeze the top so that that metal will stay inside that metal can. And then as the magnets come along and pull those metals out, it will pull both of those pieces together. So yes, you can put the metal lid inside the food can, but not loose in your cart.
So there is one other question about composting for beginners and if we are going to offer any upcoming classes. So Mecklenburg County for years had a program called McPlant, and it was a master composters class. They are not currently offering it, but ironically, there is a group in Charlotte-Mecklenburg area called Charlotte Zero Waste, and their focus for the month of May is teaching people how to compost as beginners. So if you're on Facebook, type in Charlotte Zero Waste and then press like and follow and read some of their posts about beginning composting. If you want the county to reemerge that training program, or ask if they have any videos or resources or suggestions online that they can that you can Google and watch, go ahead and email solidwaste@mecknc.gov and you can ask those questions and they will share those resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking
and
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and compost is actually something we get into briefly during our level 2 presentation, the 7 R's of waste reduction. But I always have to throw this in, that before it comes to composting it, let's make sure that we're eating it. It's about recognizing, just like with these recyclable materials, if you don't want to wash that can out, then you see that can as garbage. So it goes in the garbage can. If you see that can as valuable and you wash it out, then it is valuable and it is ready to be recycled in your recycle bin. It's the same way with food. If we see the food as valuable, then we're going to eat it before it comes to composting. And so it really is about taking it back to, let's make sure we're getting the most out of all of these materials, including reducing how much landfill we're filling up with these high value materials like aluminum, like corrugated cardboard. They can be recycled into cardboard boxes 7 to 10 times. So those cardboard boxes that you get, even the small boxes that you get and you think, oh, it's not that big a deal. It is that big a deal. These are really high demand materials. And this is a business. You are the first step in this business because you have the materials that we need. So make sure you're looking at it in that way. Is this going to cost money for the county, or is this going to boost the recycling system that we have so that we can make the most of recycling here in Mecklenburg County? And we have great resources in this region. There are so many recycling producers right in this region. We have to build this up because we've got it good. Let's really work on this. And thank you so much for caring enough to be with us today.
Excellent. So I don't see any more questions, but I wanted to let everybody know a few things. One, some of you registered in advance through the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library System. And if so, I think we might have your email address, and then we can send some follow-up resources with several of these links and even more links. And we encourage you to share those. We can even provide a recording to this, or you can share this YouTube recording in the future. If you did not officially register and you just found it and hopped on and you would like some additional resources, please reach out to solidwaste@mecknc.gov and just say, please send Recycle Right follow-up resources. And we will get your email and we will send those out. We encourage everybody to sign up for the level 2 or request the level 2. We only offer it when we get 10, 15 people that request it. So if you have interest in the level 2, the 7 hours of waste reduction, send an email. We'll put you on an invite list. We'll schedule one for you. Another thing is, if you would like us to offer this Recycle Right presentation for your group, like a homeowners association, a trade group, faith-based group like a church, if you can get a group of 20 or more people available at the same day, we have technology. We can handle the registrations, we can handle the pre-resources, we send out post-resources, and we can organize a webinar. We've done them for several of the companies in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, that a lot of them have green teams, or even for the entire employee base. So if you have a group of interested residents that would love this information, we would love to provide it. Anything else you can think of, Walker? We put several links and resources in the comments.
Nope. I think that's all we got. Just remember, anything that you need to find, everything we talked about today, you can find at wipeoutwaste.com. And we want to say one more time, remember, when in doubt, throw it out.
That's a good one. Walker, Maitri, thank you so much for presenting today. I learned, obviously, the huge one, that you can't recycle plastic bags. I had no idea. So I will remember that in the future. Really appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in on our YouTube page. Again, more programs like this, please visit us at cmlibrary.org/programs. All right, guys, have a great day.